Welcome to this edition of The Moral Agenda, where the faith community sets the moral agenda for the nation and the nations of the world, with Dr. Jessica Davis, the president of the Faith and Public Policy Institute. And now, here is your host, Dr. Jessica Davis.
And Public Policy Institute, located in Princeton, New Jersey. We will be coming to you live weekly from Princeton, New Jersey, or Washington, D.C. We want to again welcome you to the Moral Agenda. Our mission is to educate the faith community on domestic and foreign policy for collective action. So let's get started today. And again, I'm your host, Dr. Jessica Davis. Welcome to the Moral Agenda. And so we have a lot to cover today, but as we share this information, our goal number one is to inform the faith community of the pressing issues of our day. And as we talk about these issues, we will also share recommendations, suggestions of what you can do as an individual, what we can do as a community moving towards collective action. And so we're just excited about this program, the Moral Agenda. Here at the Faith and Public Policy Institute, we are focusing on eradicating poverty. And as we continue today, I will be sharing with you our new publication entitled Eradicating Poverty. I have a copy here. Eradicating Poverty in America, the 113th Congressional Poverty Rating Guide. This guide has been designed to provide you with information on the Senate and senators, our leadership in the United States of America. And in sharing this information on eradicating poverty, we're encouraging each of you to look at your leadership. It's broken down state by state, senator by state, and we have given them a grade from A to F. And unfortunately, the national average is an F. We have not done a good job in eradicating poverty in America, and I will share some statistics with you today, and how poverty is on actually the rise in America. And so we have a responsibility to hold our leadership accountable and make sure our public policy is addressing what we as the faith community believe is our responsibility in holding our leadership accountable as we live in the communities indirectly and directly being impacted by poverty. And so we want to encourage you to get a copy of this poverty guide, hot off the press. And in the back of the poverty guide is a call to action. We're not only providing information, but we're also calling the faith community to action. And so collectively, we will hold our leadership accountable. We're excited about this guide. And we will be releasing very soon the Poverty Rating Guide for the House of Representatives. This is the U.S. Senate, and we're already getting wonderful responses about the Poverty Guide. And so if you want to receive a Poverty Guide, there are a few different ways you can receive it, but we invite you to make a donation of $25 or more, and we will send one right out to you. You can send your donation to the address on the screen, or you can go to our website. It's www.faithpolicyinstitute.org. Again, www.faithpolicyinstitute.org, and the website address is also on the screen as well. Log on, make a donation, and you'll see the donation link on the webpage. And once we receive it, we will send you out the poverty rating guide. You can also call us at the headquarters, and if no one is available to speak with you, leave your name, your telephone number, and the reason for your call, requesting poverty rating guide, and we will call you back as soon as we can. So we're excited. We invite you to get on board with this national movement and international movement as we eradicate poverty, as we hold our leadership here in the United States of America and across the globe. And so as we talk about domestic and foreign policy issues today, you will come into a greater understanding of what's taking place. There is some good news in the midst of all of the challenging news that we see every day as people struggle in this new economy here and around the globe. But yet there is good news, and we're here to facilitate, to assist, to hold our leadership accountable in an exciting new way. And so again, welcome to the Moral Agenda, and we hope you will tune in every week and tell others about this new program, and program sharing good information, needed information, in order for us to be informed. And people, once you're informed, you're really compelled to do something. And so we're excited. So pick up a copy of Eradicating Poverty in America, the 113th Congressional Poverty Ratings Guide, published by the Faith and Public Policy Institute. Our focus is eradicating poverty in America. The faith community is the moral voice of America. Why do we do this? What is our motivation? It's because we're the moral voice. The moral voice of America is saying, remember the poor. The author of The Other American by Michael Harrington, he states that the only institution that can eradicate poverty is the federal government. And if this is true, if the government here in the states, across the globe, if the government is responsible, if this is true, we as the faith community must hold the government accountable as we prepare to avoid the fiscal challenges facing us and facing the globe. America here is at a critical turning point, and we know that our decisions, our choices, impact not only the citizenry of the United States, but our decisions impact the globe. And so we as citizens of the USA, we're becoming more aware of our global identity. We're a global community now. We're not just isolated nations around the world, but we're interconnected. And because of that, because of technology, because of decisions to do exports and imports, and we're connected in new ways. And in many ways, we have a greater responsibility today compared to 50 years ago. And that responsibility is calling the faith community to a higher level of moral responsibility. And so we're here to say, okay, faith community, faith leaders, we need to not only hold our community accountable, our leadership accountable, but we need to hold ourselves accountable. Are we doing what God has called us to do? Are we doing what God has prepared us to do with our resources as individuals, collectively, in our faith communities? What are we doing with our resources? And how are we impacting poverty in our nation and our nations of the world? And so, in that, as I stated, we're at a critical turning point here and around the world. So the Faith and Public Policy Institute, and I'm so proud to be the president and founder of the Institute. We have prepared ourselves, and we have picked up the 1968 poverty policy mantle of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., his Poor People's Campaign, because America has not fulfilled her responsibility, her dream. America, again, has a moral responsibility to eradicate poverty. And I would challenge you, if you're tuning in Africa, in Europe, in India, in China, in the Caribbean, wherever you are in the world tuning in, I want to challenge you today to pick up the mantle of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Join us in picking up the mantle. And so collectively, we can impact poverty around the world. Here in America, we're holding our leadership accountable. There are 50 million Americans today, representing 16% of the population, now living below the poverty line in America today. And we know, as we compare the numbers and the income around the world, there are differences. But in the United States of America, the poverty line, there are 50 million of our citizens living below the poverty line. Something must be done, and it must be done now. If not, if we don't look at our policies and how our domestic and foreign policies have impacted and are impacting and will impact the decisions that we're making today in the federal government, state government, local, county, city government, we need to ask ourselves, how does this policy, whatever it is, how does this policy impact the poor? And so as we ask that question, I'm asking the faith community also to ask the leadership of their communities, how does this policy impact the poor? And I believe we will begin to see the revisiting of many policies and many decisions. And so let's hold our nation and the nations of the world accountable. And in so looking at eradicating poverty, the faith community has to set the moral agenda. If we don't, who will? And so in setting the moral agenda, we want our nation to focus on 10 items in order to address poverty. And it's comprehensive, it's challenging, but we need to begin in a very constructive way having the conversation around these 10 issues. So let me share the 10 issues with you, and you will quickly see what we're doing. With these 10 issues, we have launched a campaign called Eradicate Poverty Sunday. And so we invite you, if you're part of a faith community and you're tuning in at church, we invite you to talk to your pastor. Tell the pastor about the moral agenda and invite him or her to tune in. In addition to that, you can contact us for information about joining Eradicating Poverty Sunday. We are launching Eradicate Poverty Sunday around the nation. And so we want you to join us as we collectively impact this nation. The 10 items, the 10 agenda items. Number 1, advocate for children in poverty in America, including quality education. Number 2, decrease the unemployment rate with training programs with placement for unskilled and low-skilled workers, including support of veterans. There is policy out here that has begun to address and has historically addressed some of these issues. If that is true for any of these, what we're asking is that those conversations be revisited and we evaluate what we have already done, because clearly it's not making the impact that it needs to make in order for us to do what we need to do to eradicate poverty in this nation. Number 3, increase the minimum wage to a living wage. And it's great to hear that our President Obama, is advocating for an increase in the minimum wage. And so as he advocates, we need to get behind him and support him and hold the Congress accountable in assisting him in moving the minimum wage to a living wage level. Number 4, to invest in parents with the Head Start program and workplace daycare. We're going to talk about the Head Start program today and what the sequestration has done to the Head Start programs that are already available in many of our communities. We need to safeguard many of these programs, and Head Start is one. Number 5, develop a housing rehabilitation program, including low-density public housing. Number 6, end hunger and food insecurity, including new farming initiatives with urban and regional farming. And we will begin to talk about this one in more detail. One of our board members, trustees, she's working now with urban farming and having wonderful success, not only with the farming aspect of it, but working with local leadership and partnering with the church, the community, and the city government and federal government, and having some exciting outcome. And so we will talk about that in the coming weeks. And I spoke with her and said, we have to have you come on the program and talk about the success of urban farming and what the faith community can do. She's producing a national model. And if we don't, we need it now in terms of food security in our inner cities. And what they're farming is exciting. The vegetables and that the community will benefit from, and the community is getting involved, and they're excited to see the food grow in their neighborhoods. And so we will definitely continue a conversation about food security. Our next agenda item is to support programs for victims of predatory lenders, including the outcome of homelessness. As you know, we had a mortgage crisis and a foreclosure crisis in the United States, and we don't want our leaders to forget about the impact. The impact is not over, and people are still struggling, and there are people who have yet to recover from the housing collapse in America, and how it had a ripple impact across the nations of the world. So let's not forget, people are still in recovery mode as a result of predatory lenders and lending policies that impacted many families. A major overhaul of the prison industrial complex. This will probably go down in history as one of the greatest injustices in the 21st century. It has single-handedly crippled communities across the nation, and our leadership is not talking about it. Our federal government is not talking about it. And the privatization of prisons across the nation has made it a profit-driven initiative. In other words, the more prisoners you have, make sure your occupancy rate is as close to 100% as possible in order to impact the bottom line. That's an injustice. It should never have been allowed to get this far. Profit-driven imprisonment is an injustice. And we as an institute, we as a faith community, we must, number one, continue to educate ourselves about the impact, the negative impact. Day by day, we see how it has impacted family structure, how it's impacted employment, how it has impacted even the ability to vote. And we have to collectively hold our leadership accountable and begin to develop and revisit policy that has created this injustice. We must end unfair personal and corporate tax breaks and concessions. Again, we must educate ourselves in order to hold our leadership accountable. There has been conversation after conversation that something needs to be done, but it has not happened as of yet, and we know why. Hands are being tied, and our leadership has been challenged, but we can hold them accountable and express great concern that the movement on this issue has not taken place. And finally, we must strengthen and protect our entitlement programs in the United States of America, including Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And we know how important our entitlement programs have been in impacting poverty and keeping people out of poverty with this type of support. We cannot imagine a nation without this support. We don't want to imagine a nation without this support. And so, let's strengthen, not get rid of, but let's strengthen these entitlement programs. And in order for that to take place, because these entitlement programs, as you know, are on the agenda of our leadership in terms of what do we do as we move forward with the budgetary challenges. And so we have to hold our leadership accountable as we move forward. And so we're setting the agenda. This is our Eradicating Poverty agenda. It's a comprehensive agenda. In order to make the impact that we need, it has to be comprehensive. We have spent many days, many hours looking at these issues and decided that these are the 10 top issues for our nation and the nations of the world, because again, we're interconnected. We are a global community. And so, based on these 10 agenda items, we evaluated each senator, U.S. senator, and we gave them a grade from A to F, whether they have addressed these 10 issues. And as I shared with you in the opening of the program, the national average is the F. In other words, our leadership is not addressing, not discussing, not looking at these policy areas. And so it is our responsibility to say to each of our leaders, these are the policy areas we want you to look at, discuss, and come up with strategies to move these items forward in order to assist in eradicating poverty in America.
The following program is paid for by the friends and partners of the Faith and Public Policy Institute and viewers like you in this area.